Hi, I'm John Kursky, and the Power Query Lint team is excited to announce that we have a Visual Studio Code extension that helps lint and fix some of the code that you have in Power Query using GitHub Copilot. Let's take a look. All right, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so you can stay up to date on all the new features and content we'll be putting out in the coming weeks. And with that, in our series on becoming an AI-enabled Power BI developer, we walked you through setting up the Visual Studio Code, Git, saving in the Power BI project format, and then later on in the series, introduce you to an MCP server that connects to the Power Query Lint API so you can get results of your Power Query code looking for best practices and potential issues. Now, the Power Query Lint team wanted to make that an easier process. So we created a Visual Studio Code extension that will, once it's installed, you can have it lint the code using a command in GitHub Copilot and offer to fix that code using our latest version of our API, which provides instructions on how to fix that code. So with that, I want to show you what that experience looks like. So up on my screen here, I've got Visual Studio Code, and I have saved it in PBIP format. If you're not familiar with the PBIP format, at the end of this video, I will have the link to the playlist that you can watch. But so if I say I've saved it to PBIP, I also have the Power Query Lint extension installed. Now what that is going to do is install a custom agent and a set of skills files that we need in order to help with linting the code using the Power Query Lint API, and as well as offering ways to fix that code. Now when you install that for the first time, one of the things that you may need to double check is if I hit the Control-Shift-P and I go up to the option on listing servers, I have the Power Query Lint MCP server right now. That gets installed when the extension gets installed. You want to make sure that that's started. And if this is the first time you're starting that server, you'll get prompted to add in your API key. Well, where do you find your API key? If I go to Power Query Lint here and click on API access, I can get my API key that way. So once it's loaded, what will happen is we will get a API key that is masked that you can copy and put into the interface there and then stored securely on Visual Studio Code. So you can see here I've got that key. All right, let me go back to Visual Studio Code. Now, once I have that installed, the next thing you're going to want to do is make sure on the custom agent you have picked PQL Linter, not PQL Tester. Testing is for the testing video. I showed you how to do custom agents in a prior video. The linter is more specific about linting the code and updating and fixing the code. So I have that saved as the linter. And let's say, for example, I want to lint the date dimension I have here. Well, all I have to do is type in lint date dim. So simple command. Hit enter. Now what it's going to do is the custom agent that we have installed through the extension has a specific set of instructions that it will walk through to make sure it understands the code, the TIMDL, and then how to access the MCP server that's going to go out to the Power Query Lint API. So here it is asked permission. Can I call the MCP server, call the API? I'm going to allow that. All right, and now it's starting to list out all the potential issues and best practices. And you'll notice on the top right there, there's this check mark about fixable. Now, in our API call, we actually indicate whether or not we currently have a set of good instructions to tell an agent or a large language model how to fix that Power Query. And so the next thing you'll get is a set of instructions. Would you like to fix the 28 violations that can be auto-fixed? And so I'm going to say fix all. Now before I hit enter, notice some of these that it has are issues like, oh, I sorted and then I used remove duplicates, but I didn't buffer that sort. Or I concatenated two string values and I didn't use table.combine or coalescing. Those can cause null values. Those are issues. Those are all things that I can do. I also should be using distinct steps and comments in my code. Now, there's quite a few I would say maybe lint violations or potential issues and best practices. Quite a few. Now, do I really want to go through all those myself and make those fixes? No. So what I will do is maybe hit fix all and step away from my computer or work on another item in another window and let the custom agent do some of these fixes. Now, note before I hit this enter, version control is very important here because if I ever need to back out of these changes, I have this saved to version control. So one of the things I like to do before I hit enter on this is make sure I've commit and synced some of my changes into an appropriate branch, and then let the custom agent do the work. So I've hit enter, and I will fast forward to when the fixes are complete. All right, so I stepped away for just a couple minutes, and looks like the agent went through. There was about 28 fixable violations or lint rules that I asked it to fix. And you can see even before I hit the keep here, if I expand this, you'll see that it's identified those updates. I can see it's using the table.buffer now that I wanted it to, and even at the top here, it's using the table.combine that we wanted it to use, and added in the comments. And so I could ask it to lint it again, but that would take some time. Like, part of the process is, yes, I would ask it to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. I will commit and sync those changes. Now, it's important to note that if you had Power BI Desktop open with the same source folder, you'll have to close Power BI Desktop and open it back up in order for those changes to be applied. As of March, early March, hot reloading of changes in Visual Studio Code aren't reflected directly in Power BI Desktop just yet. Hopefully one day. But in the meantime, we've actually, was able to do some other work, come back, and it's gone through and made changes to this code that otherwise would take me a lot longer to do. Now, things to consider. The reason we want to have source control is if those changes are made, don't adhere to exactly the way we want that model to build, we can back out of it. The second thing is, I have another series on AI-enabled tester. One of the things that you'll want to do is you've made those changes, you'll want to rerun tests. Make sure the schema is still fine. Do the calculations still work? Those are the things that if we're letting AI to make updates to the code, it's convenient for us. We can keep it in a bound area to make sure that those updates don't make it out to test or production without our purview. But we also need testing in place to make sure that we don't miss anything. All right, so go ahead, go out to Visual Studio Code, go to the extensions, download the Power Query Lint extension, try out the linter, try out the tester. This video, we went over the Power Query Linter custom agent, how it accesses the MCP server, lints the code, and with several other rules, we have fix-it instructions built into the API that tell the GitHub Copilot how to fix it. It went in, made changes to that code. So I hope you learned something today. We're going to have some new videos out on new features, new capabilities, new rules here in the coming weeks. So I hope you stay tuned, stay subscribed. But until then, take care.